Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 2 of our coverage of the main event of Battle of Central Europe. You're watching Heflatv. I'm Don Horatio, and I've brought with me my co-caster from yesterday. Once again, we've got Banshee ready for another day of some Central European action, dude.
Yeah, most definitely is. Well, I'd say that this is actually a matchup looking at the teams in the tournament that I wouldn't mind seeing in the finals, to be honest, as in myInsanity and TCN, two very, very good teams. Both of them being in a lot of top tournaments, and, well, this is hopefully going to be an awesome matchup, and probably the closest, I'd say, so far.
Yeah, definitely. I do believe this is probably the best game of the second round available, and, well, we'll be riding this TCN train as long as we can until they make it to the finals and win, or if they get knocked out, we'll be watching them the whole way. We got a lot of Romanian fans out there. Want to go ahead and make them happy by, well, keeping them up to date on the TCN bandwagon here, and, well, they're going up against myInsanity, a Serbian team with a lot of fans out there as well. It's a Swiss organization, but they do have a Serbian team, a fairly recent roster pickup. They were a team beforehand under a different banner. I forget the name now. Forgive me for that, but picked up by the Swiss organization in April, I believe. So they have not been here long, but a damn good team. And, well, let's look at the picks so far. We got the bans of the Bat Rider, which makes sense, and there's a Timbersaw ban in the first phase. Haven't seen that in a couple of months. But TCN taking out the Centaur and the Lycan, and we'll see an Invoker pick up. First pick from MYI. No real surprise there. Invoker's legit. We see a Train Protector and Mirana pick up from TCN to respond.
Which is, everything going as normal.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, other than the Timbersaw ban, and now we see the Slark pick.
Yeah, now that's interesting. I will say that myInsanity, not only as a team, but also as an entire organization. I have followed myInsanity through a variety of games, whether it's COD, StarCraft 2, or not Call of Duty, Counter-Strike. And they are always really weird. They're like those weird underdogs who bring out like crazy strategies and always seem to do well in like huge tournaments and that kind of like.
Yeah, certainly, and, well, we'll see if they can do it against TCN here, and TCN, I would say, is the favorite in this tournament, but, like I said, MYI, they're always willing to bring out something a bit weird with the Slark first pick. It's not first pick, but a first phase pick. Slark's not an uncommon hero, but grabbing him this early tends to set you up. It puts you at a bit of a disadvantage because it gives TCN more time to draft around trying to combat the Slark, maybe pick up some silence heroes or some AoE disables to deal with it as well. But we'll have to see how they respond. So far, they banned the Doom, which is something that Slark hates to go up against. I mean, that's a super silence, pretty much. TCN takes out Tide. myInsanity take out a Viper. So Viper kind of just poops on Evoker because it's just sad to lane against Viper. I guess Viper just kind of shits on anybody because that's a real pain in the ass to lane against. But, well, TCN, they got the old ban pick right in a row coming up here. We'll see what they go for, and their strategy will start to congeal here the next couple of picks.
Now, it is worth noting right now, the Train Protector, it does mean you kind of do need that stun hero coming out. Maybe I'd say a Bane would be slightly better in situations than an ordinary Shadow Demons. We actually see that Io getting picked up. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, interesting I think is the right word for that. And, well, we'll see if they try to pair it up with something big or if they're just going to leave it as a casual Io. Casual Wisp has not really worked in the last games I've seen it in, but they go for the Tiny, so it's not casual. They've got a nice little combination here, and they can still, well, they're looking for probably another solo laner of some kind, or they can run some sort of dual lane magic here, but, I mean, Treant Mirana probably going to be a lane, and Io Tiny likely going to be a lane, or something along those lines, or they could try lane the Tiny and solo Mirana somewhere, but...
Yeah, personally, I would consider that they're not actually going to do a... I'd be more willing to see them go for an Io Tiny on middle. Stop that Invoker again very much farm. Get that very fast farm onto Tiny and Io, as generally when this combo is ran in that middle position. Send them on in the off lane and do a strong ganking hero doing up that Train Protector, because Train Protector is a very good, got that survivability, he's got that ultimate, he's got a whole bunch of awesome utility and sustain, but he really lacks that lane presence, so to say.
Yeah, and Io Tiny is even stronger middle on the Radiant side. Io has access to that camp right next to the lane, can walk down there, stack it for the Tiny to farm later as well. So, yeah, I do think the dual lane mid will probably be the way they go. And, yeah, I would reckon the Traint Mirana will be together. We'll see what their last pick is. It'll probably help the lanes make a little bit more sense as well. But taking their time in this ban as well. And we didn't talk about MYI so far. We've just been talking about the Wispani. But we see an Ancient Apparition and Disruptor. Two supports that kind of need a little bit of... I don't know, they on their own, they don't operate too brilliantly well, and you generally want to get a bit of a setup. I mean, Glimpse into Kinetic Field's nice and all, but I don't know. We'll see. They do have a really nice team fight with it, I will say that much. If you can, they have the global presence with the AA plus Invoker, And, well, Disruptor finds a kinetic field static storm, and then you Ice Blast on top of that. That's pretty ridiculous as well, so we'll see if they can find that combo sometime this game.
As we do actually see that right now that on myInsanity side, it is worth noting that, like you noticed, that they don't really have that setup stun. Yes, they've got the Slot Pounce, they've got the Ancient Apparition, Cold Feet, and the... I can't remember what it's called, the Ice Vortex to slow down, and the Disruptor Glimpse and stuff, but they don't actually have a lot of stuns on their side. Now, normally this would be a huge problem, but with the Treant Protector, with the IO supports coming out in TCN, this is basically going, you know, it doesn't really matter that much in the early game, since they are pretty weak supports in that laning stage.
Yeah, the lanes, TCN will probably play decently passive in the lanes, unless, well, once Tiny gets a couple of levels, you can go for a kill on Invoker, especially if he goes Quas Exhort, he'll be very, very vulnerable to that burst damage, and, well, we'll see if they actually are able to find him off, and, well, you mentioned the lack of, like, hard CC on myInsanity. This might be a game where Invoker goes Quas Wix. You really want to go Quas Exhort with the global presence with the Ancient Apparition, but so far, unless they really round out this lineup with maybe a bigger CC kind of hero, they may be forced to go Quas Wix in this Invoker, but that's kind of also a personal decision, and it really does depend on this last pick.
Yeah, as I will say that due to the weirdness that the TCN are picking up right now, that probable Tiny middle with the IO, it does give myInsanity a little bit of freedom to possibly go pick up a more aggressive carry, maybe even something a little less picked like a Slark, or a Slaughter, I mean, or a Sven.
Yeah, they certainly
could. That stun, get that aggressive trialing with the Ancient Apparition, the Disruptor.
Yeah, it certainly could. It's not the strongest one, but I mean, if it is going to be a dual lane, obviously a tri-lane up against a dual lane will probably have the advantage there, even if the supports aren't the best designed for it, but I've seen some Slark aggressive tri-lanes work out pretty damn nicely, especially... I think actually it was a Slark. Yeah, it was a Slark aggressive tri-lane with an Invoker supporting it. I think the team actually ended up losing that game, but the laning stage was ridiculous because they just had the lockdown. If they landed the Pounce, the Sunstrike, pretty good chance it hits. Slark, I mean, Pounce obviously not a hard disable, if just the leash, but you can still get a pretty good chance of landing that Sunstrike. And, well, all of a sudden that lane's kind of like a 4v2 if it is dual lanes. We do see a Puck, so there's your solo hero more likely than not. And, well, they could go Treant Protector and the Mirana in the off lane and do like a Puck safe lane, something like that. We'll have to see how they want to put these dual lanes and arrange them. They have a lot of options.
Yeah, they do actually have a lot of options of how they can do it. As in, it is worth noting that they don't have enough. Well, they do. They could. Well, you could theoretically go Treant Protector IO Tiny, but that would be a terrible tri lane.
I do think the Wisp Tiny mid is the right decision here. It's just a matter of how they arrange the other three heroes, and Puck obviously will be a solo. So we'll just see how. I don't know. They also have some versatility to dodge the lanes and try and put the Treant Protector Mirana up against something a bit tougher to face, since they do have living armor and the leap. And a Huskar pick, welp. Aggression, anybody?
Yeah. And that to me just does say that they want to use that Slark and that 1v1 against probably the Mirana or the Puck or any of the heroes. Frankly, TCN do have a lot of options with the laning. In fact, both these two teams have a lot of options with the laning, but I would say the aggressive tri-lane with that Huskar is probably the best situation.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, Slark really does... You can't put him in a tri-lane, but he does benefit from levels pretty nice. He wants that level 6 as fast as possible, and getting a maxed out Pounce and starting to work on Dark Pact or Essence Shift is really, really nice for him and helps him fight a bit earlier in the mid game. And Invoker obviously wants his solo lane as well. But, well, one of them will likely end up going against that Wisp Tiny, so that's not going to be the most entertaining for whoever does face it. Probably is going to be the Invoker going middle to deal with it. He might have a bit of a sad time, but in any case, while we're paused, of course there's a pause. It's a game of Dota. There has to be a pause at the start, or else it's not Dota. So
exactly.
We'll introduce our teams really quickly. We've got Arise playing the Tiny, going to be supported by Zizu on the Wisp. Lion will be taking up the reins on the Puck. Quicks on the Mirana, and last but not least, Vona on the Treant Protector.
As we do see on the myInsanity side, we have Bucked Up playing on the Nature Apparition. We have Grazine on the Huskar, Cole with a K on the Invoker, Gog1 Dota on the Slark, and Z-Maj on the Disruptor, or Z-Maj LZ.
He's got a lot of names.
Yes. He's like 3 names all put into one. He just put his entire full name there in Serbian.
Yeah, I think Z-Maj will be the easiest way to refer to him here. And yeah, I don't know. Should be a good game once it actually does get going. As I check the stream, everything working okay. All right.
Yeah, make sure your overlays off and all that lovely stuff. And
yeah,
we should be going on with our...
No more overlays today. No more. Never again.
Don't
yeah,
worry,
yeah.
even Arteezy does it. So.
Oh my goodness. That's not his job though. Anyway.
At the very least, as in if it does go there, it won't end up on the front page of Reddit.
Yep, pretty much. And, well, I guess we're waiting on someone using the bathroom now. Yep, looks like it. So, one day, the Serbians will be ready to fight, and, yep. I don't know. Not really a whole lot more to say until this game does get started. And this is the winner's bracket round 2, by the way. So, the loser of this, let's see. I believe the loser of this goes down to face someone difficult in the loser's bracket. I'm going to double check that really quickly. I believe it was, let's see. Oh, yeah, Northern Lions, Adam Spass, or whatever their actual name is. But that's going to be a tough matchup for whoever comes next.
Yeah, because I think them dropping down to the loser's bracket was actually a little bit of a surprise. They got beaten by Merlin, Esports, Dragon Z, and then they just blew through round number 1. It's round number 2. In fact, a really nice comeback. If you want to go look at the previous day's VOD, it's a very nice game there. You definitely want to go check that out.
That second game was ridiculous, and I mean, just trust in Naga, and then that one team fight middle just completely changing the tone of the game. It was pretty legit. So, well, this pause is still happening because, you know, I'm casting, so obviously this has to happen. I had Dota just crash on, or the servers all went down on me earlier, so I can never catch a break. But one day a game will come. Actually, I might take this chance to refill my water, which is empty. So, thank you, teams.
Now, I will say whoever wins this will be going up against the winner of a match that's currently being played, I think, right now, or started about an hour, half an hour ago. Ozlik versus Aftershock. Now, Aftershock getting a pretty nice upset against Goomba Gaming in round number 1. So that should be a pretty nice, I think that's quarterfinals there. Well, winners, semis, total tournament quarterfinals.
All right, I'm back. Good thing they didn't start. Thank God for that. And, well, yeah, someone in the chat was actually asking why pick Huskar, and then, well, someone in the chat already answering the question, but yeah, I do want to point it out. I mean, TCN can be very reliant on magical damage in the early game until this Tiny can get truly jacked. And basically, it's just Avalanche, Toss damage, Mirana, Starstorm, and then Puck damage on top of that. And once this Huskar gets some levels in his Berserker's Blood, it's going to be very, very hard to burst him down with magic damage because that resistance will get completely out of control. It's going to be ridiculous. And this Huskar, if he gets a good start, will be very, very hard to kill because they need to find this physical damage somewhere.
It's also worth noting that Huskar did recently get a buff. His Searing Arrows is no longer an orb. Means you can pick up that lifesteal on him. You could pick up even a slow if you wanted to. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, they truly are, and I mean, you could certainly go for something like that. And that buff, I mean, it obviously does help out Huskar into the late game and lets you use Burning Spears with a Satanic and things like that, which is really nice. But I don't know. He's just a hero I still don't think of. Like, whenever I'm in the draft screen, I don't think Huskar's going to fit here. I just my mind is not adjusted to him being in captain's mode yet after that long period of him being just quasi broken and then changed a bit, and then he's ridiculous. He's just a ridiculous hero and impossible to kill once he gets a decent start. Thank God they fixed that Ghost Scepter thing. That was just way too stupid.
As someone actually said that the guy with the Zmaj is Zmads. Someone says in chat, Suzanne O with 4 O's, saying that's what his actual name is.
Oh man, this the chat is slowly transitioning into languages I don't understand territory, but
as an English person, it scares me.
It is terrifying. I'm born and raised in America. I don't even know what other languages are. I thought American was the only language there was. Who even needs English? We speak American here. But anyway, the game is unpaused. We can finally watch some Dota. Thank God for that. So, well, let's see if they decide to lane this. And right now, the Huskar actually sitting near top, and Slark is heading down bottom. Let's see where the supports go. Looks like they're following the Slark. So, not exactly what I would expect. And Huskar 1v1 up against likely the Mirana and the Treant. So that's not going to be the best matchup for him, I don't think. But, well, I don't know. Let's see how that works out.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit interesting as we do see that IO obviously is just going to go probably just be annoying and harass one. He's obviously going to be going up against, pairing up with this Tiny, because let's face it, that's what an IO and a Tiny combo does. They stick together like they're literally attached at the hip.
Yeah, pretty much. And then they'll just kind of dominate whoever is in mid lane. And it will be the Invoker. He hasn't put a point in any of his orbs yet, but he has picked up a Null Talisman, which generally indicates Exhort. So probably going to be that build. So he will be a bit more susceptible to any sort of gank or just Wisp Tiny, just general harass and damage as that Quas Exhort Invoker. But he will have that ability to affect the bottom lane with Sunstrike. So there's always a trade-off with whichever way you want to build Invoker. You can't have it all until the end of the game, and then you're level 25, and then you do have it all. But until then, you have to make some compromises.
Yeah, by that time, though, you've probably got like an Aghanim Scepter and like a Hex, and you're just like putting out 5 million spells a second, which is actually pretty amazing on the people who can actually do that at the on the few times you actually get to that stage.
Yep, definitely. And well, let's see where things do end up going. And yeah, the Mirana is going to stick top, so probably is going to be that Treant up there with her. And yeah, Huskar not so great against. In a 1v1, he's pretty damn scary with Burning Spears. In a 1v2, not going to be quite as strong. And one thing to keep in mind, though, is that his the Burning Spears will just absolutely tear through living armor. So that's one thing to think about, and that will certainly help him out. We're going to have a Puck up against potentially the tri-lane down here, but maybe the supports will just move around a lot. Right now, it's just the Slark, but eventually the supports will move down here as well, I would assume. And, well, there's Piney already going to work, throwing out some avalanches, making this Invoker sad already.
Yeah, it's going to be a very sad Invoker. He's going to have such a hard time just not getting harassed out of lane and being able to just get any kind of farm. Also worth noting, interesting thing in chat, you know the Z-Maj guy? Mm-hmm. Supposedly in Serbian that means dragon.
Oh man, these intense names, these Serbian names, I just have no idea, man. It's just having not cast them before, not really too familiar with the Serbian lingo as of yet, but well, we'll figure it out. And we see the lane starting to shake out, and well, right now Puck kind of left his own devices for the time being. AA will make his way down there at some point to try and maybe make a go here, but Puck does have that phase shift in Orb, and he'll have that level 2 here in a second, so his survivability goes up by a lot once he gets that phase shift ready, so he should be fine. And, well, I don't know. Right now, we just see this Disruptor trying to do some stacking and pulling, and it's actually a pretty passive laning stage so far from myInsanity, which we didn't really expect after the draft. Yeah,
we're really seeing... Ooh, as we see the arrow coming out, and Huskar's going to get taken out. He's got a huge long-range arrow stun. Can they finish this off? Huskar's going to be in so much trouble. He's going to be slowed by the Leech Seed, but that's going to be a very nice first kill. As
he just got nailed. He just got casually nailed by a really long arrow. Well, that's awkward.
Don't mind me.
For him, pretty much. And yeah, I mean, he's not tanky yet. He's level 2, so he has 1 rank at that Berserker's Blood, but you really do need a couple of ranks in it, and I don't know, they just have the physical damage. Treant, actually, with those punches, does help out quite a bit if he can actually get in range to get the punches off. And, well, Treant eating some Thunderstrike damage, not really the biggest deal for him. Mirana getting set on fire. Unfortunate, but just the way of the world against a Huskar. And Puck's doing alright bottom lane still. So first blood going to TCN, a nice start for them. And, well, I want to say a passive laning stage will benefit them, but MOI will also bring quite a bit of fight once their supports get their level 6s.
Yeah, it's worth noting that both these two teams, myInsanity, they do have a little bit more flexibility in how they can play this, whether they want to go for the late game or the early game pushes. As we do see a haste room being picked up on that. Not very much else is going to be happening there.
The person in chat saying I was arrogant for saying English is the only language, I was being very sarcastic. I was just pretending to be a true-blooded American. So my apologies if I actually did offend you, but it was not my intention. But, yep. Going back to things, looking at last hit counters right now, Tiny in the leader of last hits. Not really surprised there with the dual lane he's found. AA going to try and help out here, but there's really not a whole lot AA can do to help this lane, to be honest. That's a problem with AA. Like, by himself, he just has Chilling Touch, and that's literally
And we see Disruptor. He's getting taken out a whole bunch. Gonna go down there. Another long-range arrow coming out from Mirana. She's really hitting those, even without the setup stun. Very nice stuff there coming out from Quicks.
Yeah, if you're nailing those arrows without the setups, I mean, partly it's... I mean, obviously, if you fire the arrow in the right spot, that's good on you, but, I mean, like, there's really no reason for myInsanity to let these hit them this regularly. Like, the fact that she's 2 for 2 on arrows is really bad for myInsanity, because they shouldn't really have to deal with this right now. I mean, if she doesn't land these arrows, they're in fine shape. It's the only real disable in this lane, and that's the only reason they've got these 2 kills. They need to be a bit more careful with their positioning.
As you see the arrow coming out, this time going to miss. Finally, one going down, but it is worth noting that that's one of the advantages of Mirana. Her arrows on such short cooldown, and it doesn't really require that much mana. You can just keep fishing for those kills, fishing for that additional stun, fishing for that extra damage, but Mirana may be in a bit of trouble. She does have a leap. As the damage is going to come out, she's going to get away nice and safely.
Disruptor had Glimpse, not sure if he just wasn't in range. Yeah, just level 1 Glimpse, not nearly long range enough to catch her after that leap. If they'd been able to grab her post-leap, they get that kill pretty damn easily, but she's just able to barely sneak out of there, so a nice escape from her, and this gives Puck a lot of space bottom. He's just farming away down here. He's got quite a few, well, 13 last hits. I thought he would have had more than that, but he's well on his way to his Blink Dagger, and one of the easier starts for a Puck I've seen in some time, and he's got to be feeling pretty good about this lane.
Although we'll say that Slark is having a slightly better time here, as he's 22 and 13, like tying for last hits from that Tiny who's on middle, who's basically got a dual lane. So it's also worth noting this Invoker's doing a pretty good job considering he's a 1 versus 2, 17 and 11, getting plenty of last hits, even a lot of denies.
Yeah, he's playing very safe, and I mean, this lane's getting just pushed a little bit. I mean, Tiny throwing out like tosses and avalanches and occasionally things like that. I mean, it does tend to push the wave, and Invoker just playing it safe, sitting behind his tower until creeps come near him. He's getting his levels just fine, and yeah, he's playing it pretty much as safe as he needs to. He really can't play any more farther forward than he has been so far. So good on him to not get caught out of position yet.
We do see though that Trinity Protector could be in virtual right now, coming in from this Invoker, going in for the cold snap. The Sunstrike's going to come out, and that will finally be a return kill coming out from myInsanity. I'm not quite sure what Treant was doing there.
Yeah, I don't know how you find yourself in that position, and now Ari's coming in just for some casual damage, but not really going to find anything here. Actually, well, the Wisp is doing a decent bit of damage, trying to find out this AA, but we'll just force him back, and, well, Invoker just sits back. He'll shift into Quas, eat a Tango, and he'll be back in action here very shortly. So
we have seen this Marauder rotate down to this bottom lane, though, giving that Huskar a little bit of time to get a bit of space, get a bit of ability to make it back from his, not the greatest start in the world.
Yeah, certainly. He's almost at his level 6, and then the life breaks, the dunks will be real. And yeah, we'll be doing some MVA jams for real once he gets that level 6 up, and he's very, very close to it now with this time for free up in the top lane. Treant gonna come up here as well, looking for his level 6 too, so he shouldn't be able to. Well, once Huskar gets level 6, Treant may need to be a bit careful if he's still around, but I bet he'll play a lot more carefully once he sees that level up from the Huskar. But well, where did Puck actually end up going? Puck is actually looking for this Invoker right now with this Invis.
Yeah, Invoker's having to be really careful right now, just staying around near the tower. Gonna have to be, super sure there's gonna be no gank coming towards him as the ultimate coming out from the Puck. This Invoker is so much in trouble.
He will go down. Really, no way out of him for that. Nicely used Invis rune there for Puck. Yeah, I mean, only so much you could do against a Wisp Tiny lane when a invisible Puck comes in from behind and just stream coils you. So, not really a whole lot he could have done to avoid that. He was playing decently safe as it was. As
we do see that right now, it's these lanes right now haven't really been static, so to say, as in it's basically been a 1v1, 1v2, so to say.
Yeah, people are moving around a lot, an awful lot actually, and well, Mirana taking on this bottom lane. I do think that Huskar benefits the most from this. We do see the Pounce actually missing bottom from the Slark, trying to find that Mirana. Not going to quite get it. Slark is level 7 now, so has that max Pounce and the Shadow Dance ready to go, so he can start getting pretty aggressive if he wants to, and probably just make it out okay with his ultimate, but well, he is waiting. He wants this Mirana pretty bad, actually.
If you can get the Pounce, then it should be a death. We do see the leap does come out, and that's going to be 30 seconds of time where Miran's going to have to be super careful, and the TPs are going to come out in response to that. Twin Protector, very good defensive hero, especially with that living armor that he's maxing up very, very quickly.
He is very close to level 6 after his time spent in the top lane, just getting that solo XP, so we can see some overgrowth here defensively as well pretty soon, trying to deal with this aggression. Huskar continuing to farm, which is, I mean, he had a bad start, so I guess he wants to just finish off an urn or something like that, and then maybe start going to find fights, but this is not a hero you just sit back and just get last hits on the entire game. You really want to get aggressive with him, or else you're not utilizing the hero to the best of his ability.
Yeah, as it's worth noting that Huskar has mostly managed to catch up with the Mirana and, reverse that bad start due to the fact that myInsanity has put no pressure onto him at all. They've more been focused on the Slark.
Yep, they certainly have, and, well, Slark continuing to just run around bottom lane. He really wants to find something down here, but I don't know, he doesn't really seem to be able to find a whole lot, and the supports aren't able to help him out quite yet either. Ancient Apparition's level 4 right now, so getting decently close to level 6. Disruptor's level 5, and once they get those, they can start getting even more aggressive. But, I mean, right now, it's just a very, very passive game, and I'm pretty sure this benefits TCN. The longer this Tiny has time to basically get online and get his Aghanims up, it's going to get worse and worse for MYI.
Yeah, so they do have to deal with this Tiny at some point. The Tiny is the highest farm in the game right now with 3.4k net worth, and he's just going to keep in this mid laning, just get his fast Aghanims, get his fast, everything else he needs.
Yeah, they've given him no reason to leave this lane. Now we see the Avalanche toss. Actually, the Force Spear gets tossed at the Invoker. One more, two more balls. The balls will fly through. Can actually finish off this Invoker. One or two more right clicks. Wisp will actually finally finish the job, but, well, Tiny might not be so lucky. He is Moonlight Shadow to get Living Armor as well. They actually turned it around and killed the Slark off, and, well, Moonlight Shadow being used nicely. Living Armor is just a pain in the ass to deal with. Wisp does go down, but they find 2 core kills, and losing only the Wisp there, pretty nice find for TCN, so Sentinel's off to a very good start in this game.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that nobody, well, actually, there was actually a Sentry Wall that wasn't placed. A little bit surprisingly, as we do see that Druid Protector gonna pick up another kill there on the Ancient Apparition.
That's the problem with Ancient Apparition is just you have no way to get away from anything when they jump on you, and this is just a Druid Protector, man. You just leech it and punch the guy, and then, oh, that's a kill, so. Oh, man, tough find there for MYI, and, well, this Huskar is still farming and not fighting. He's working towards an armlet, it looks like, so I guess he's just waiting for that first item to fight, but, I mean, his team kind of needs him to do things now, or else, like, they'll have the physical damage to deal with him before he's actually starting to fight. I'm not sure about how they're playing this.
Yeah, because you got to know that basically Huskar is not a hard carry in that sense. Yes, he can carry, but he's more of a carry that picks up those early kills and just spirals out of control.
Yeah, definitely. And so far he's done very little in the way of spiraling. In fact, if he's spiraling anywhere, it's spiraling down. I mean, let's double check. Yeah, he's 0, 1, and 0, so literally no impact other than dying once, and that's just not what you want to see on a Huskar. You want to be making the plays, but one day he will do something. He's made his way middle lane now, actually, to try and pick up some farm here, and, well, one day he'll get that armlet. I'm assuming that's what that Helm of Iron Will is for, and then that is a really nice item for Huskar, just even more damage and just tankability, and you just turn that armlet on, you just don't die, which is very nice, but Puck, actually, she did make a detour for the power treads before finishing the blink, so delaying that blink a little bit, but with how passive MYI has been recently, it's probably not the worst thing in the world that she goes for the treads, and then can just get the blink in time probably anyway, so looking pretty good on the Puck so far.
It's also worth noting that Tiny, with that huge creep stack, I think that was about 4 stacked camp that you just took out there, he is almost at his age Aghanims.
Yeah, he's very, very close, and yeah, just that Blade of Alacrity away, and it's going to be a very, very fast Aghanims, and they just done nothing to stop him at all this entire game. It's, I don't know, it feels, I don't know, you just kind of want to do something before they let him get online. Like, that's the one hero that can really deal with that Tiny, not the Tiny, the Huskar at some point, and, or at least as far as dealing physical damage in big bursts, but just not going for this game. Mirana's gone for a Midas, which I'm not typically a fan of on this hero, and I don't know, I guess she just feels comfortable with the start and Tiny being able to make some space, I guess, but I don't know. What do you think about the Mirana Midas?
Mirana Midas, I've seen it a few times, but I guess it works in the situation. She is basically that second core. She's not playing that support role, and right now, myInsanity, they're not really aggressing, and she got a very nice early start, so why not increase it? Yeah,
definitely. The thing is, Mirana, the issue I have with the Midas is, like, you only need, like, a couple of small items, like, get, like, phase drums and, top lane, Puck, using the Dream Coil, I would imagine, but here's this Huskar, there's absolutely no way to blow him down, other than, burst him down once he gets low. Io will go down, but it is a 2-for-1 trade. Invoker and Huskar going down, but Burning Spears? Ooh. Burning Spears. Yeah, the Burning Spears does take down that Tiny, and that's absolutely huge right there. That Tiny was so close to his Aghanims, and he's, he's going to get delayed by probably a minute right now. And actually, Huskar's finishing a Helm of the Dominator instead of buying the armlet with that Helm of Iron Will, which I thought was going to be the case. I don't like this as much, because once again, it means, I don't know, you can fight with the Helm of the Dominator. It helps out a little bit with the lifesteal, certainly, but, I mean, it's not as good at fighting as an armlet is, and it will delay his ability to join the team fights for even longer, and I just don't feel that's the right way to go with that hero. As I do agree. In the meantime, though, we do see that Slark, his items, he hasn't actually got very many major items, surprisingly. Even though he's basically been free farming down here on bottom, has been harassed a little bit, has got one death, and he's only really got power treads and 1.4k gold. Yeah, his net worth is actually a lot lower than I would have thought, considering he's been basically undisturbed down here, but, I mean, I don't know. It's up against a Mirana. Once she came down here, the lane got a little harder, because her harass is a bit better with the phase boots than the Puck's is, I would say, so maybe that affected them slightly. Oh, mid lane. They're going to try and go on this tower. Treant is running in like a man, going to go for the leech now Huskar, but here comes that bit of a dunk. Overgrowth is going to fly out, but probably won't save him from the burning spears, which are flying through. Tower shot coming in as well, but Lion finds a kill onto that Ancient Apparition. Here comes the Silencer ultimate. It's a pretty good one, catching the Mirana, and here comes the Slark as well, finding a pounce kill. Slark gonna try and go for the Wisp here next, but nice toss from Tiny. We'll delay it for a little bit. Shadow Dance is popped, trying to finish off this Io. Will do it. Slark's pretty damn low, though. Will there be a toss to try and find him out? Not quite. Slark will make it away, and at the end of the day, a 2-for-1 trade, and, well, nice fight for MYI, and, well, a little bit of a tower dive there as well, and the tower certainly helped out, but I don't know. They do get the tier 1 tower, so I would say about the end of the day it's a even-ish trade with the tower going down. Not really sure, though. It was a pretty close fight.
Well, you got to remember that Huskar did manage to live throughout the entire ability, and I will say that a really key part of that second part of the fight was that Disruptor getting his ultimate off right before going down, and it really slowed TCN enough to be able, for the rest of myInsanity, to be able to rotate in and pick up those kills they needed.
Definitely, and, well, yeah, Huskar living for once. A lot of times Huskar does sleep in and just kind of die because you do use your health with life break, but all of a sudden he's level 11, so that's good for him. He's got level 2 in that ultimate, which does reduce the damage he takes when he uses it himself. I actually had to check the tooltip for that, wasn't sure. And he will go for an armlet next as well, so I still do like this item. A really early armlet's a little bit better than this slightly later one, just because that huge strength and damage burst is ridiculous, just right off the bat, but he'll get one eventually. It's still a nice item. Top lane, lots of heroes trying to congregate here. For Sentinels, they're going to maybe look to fight, but I don't know, with a tiny wisp down on them. But they do have relocate available if they want to come to the fight at any point in time now, so we'll have to see how aggressive they want to get with that. But right now, they're going to back off, and just Mirana's going to farm this lane in. They'll leave the tower alone for now.
Yeah, that's one of the few advantages of, well, one of the many advantages of that IO plus Tiny combo is the fact that they can basically go off and farm on the other side of the map and always be guaranteed to be able to contribute in team fights.
Yep, and Tiny does have his Zags now, by the way, and 1k gold on top of that. We'll see if he goes for... You don't have to go Yasha when you have a Wisp on your team for that movement speed, but you still can if you want to, and just go for a Mantis style. Won't be too helpful against that Disruptor silence, unfortunately, but still a good item. Oh, Slark actually finding a kill top lane, and yep, Kinetic Field Static Storm were used to find that Mirana kill. Took 4 heroes, or 3 or 4 heroes, but they do find the Mirana kill, so nice one for them. And MYI, they're trying to worm their way back into this game.
Yeah, and we do see right now, if we have a quick look at the experience, that it's only 2k in favor of a TCN, while on the gold, it's a little bit more further because of that Mirana with that Midas and the tiny basic in free farm. 4k in favor of a TCN right there, but at the same time, they are keeping it closer than what the early game may have expected.
Yeah, but with this Aghanims now, I mean, that net worth will get a bit out of control if they let this Tiny go unperturbed for much longer. They're going to try and actually go on this Huskar here. They actually have the physical damage to bring him down. Kinetic Field will fly out, and he'll just go ahead and go for the jump on Zizu, but he gets living armored up, which will help him take some of the Burning Spear's damage and live through this. There's a Sunstrike flying through somewhere, but I don't know what connected on. Arrow will actually land on Slark, but he was Dark Pacting, so it doesn't actually affect him very well. Wisp manages to relocate out instead of going down, and now Slark should be the one to fall. 2-for-0 trade, 2 cores once again falling, and... Well, just as we said, they were trying to get back into it. A really nice little skirmish there from TCN, finding a couple kills. They might get this tower with the overcharge as well. But no, they're diving past the tower for kills. Dream Coil, arrow's going to fly through. It will miss, but Puck... Tiny actually gets the kill with... I don't really know what spell he used there, but probably the toss. And, well, that's another tower as well, so... A couple of nice fights for TCN. 2 towers, one of them was denied, but they find a lot of kills as well. Ice Blast will hit, and shouldn't really bother anybody too much. They'll just peace out.
I'm going to say right now that I hate to call players out, especially when they're at this level of skill, far better than myself, but at the same time, that was very, very weird play coming out for both the Slark and the Huskar. The Huskar there, he had the chance to get back. As in, we saw the Disruption Field basically coming out perfectly to block off the possible encroaching, but Huskar decided to leap in on the IO instead, the IO that was living armored up.
Yeah, and I mean, their lineup kind of needs to fight now is the problem. They kind of drafted themselves into a corner. They picked this sort of aggressive fighting lineup and then didn't fight, or are now realizing they kind of have to try and fight even when they would probably lose the fight. It's a really awkward draft. I mean, they have this Slark and this Huskar, which they both kind of serve a similar purpose. You kind of just jump in, YOLO, you have a lot of survivability, and then you just try and do a ton of damage in bursts. And oh, Wisp might be getting a bit ahead of himself here. He'll go down. Tiny Wisp just take a jaunt through the jungle and just Wisp dies. But yeah, I mean, MI, just like, they're supposed to be the fighting team, but it looks like they're the ones who just can't handle the fight because they weren't aggressive enough in the early stages.
Yeah, because that was the problem, as in those early kills by Mirana really forced that Huskar to go defensive, and that allowed Tiny to get the free farm he needed. I will say, though, that all the rotations coming out from both these two teams, myInsanity just didn't really try to do anything against that Tiny. They just kind of left him alone and went for the Mirana instead.
And I think Huskar finally finishing his armlet here. I think he's a Blades of Attack away unless it's on the Courier. So yeah, he's getting pretty damn close, but I don't know. I also want to say that patch that let Huskar use the Burning Spears and Lifesteal at the same time, it kind of confused players into thinking that Helm of the Dominator is like a good first item on him. I really don't think it is at all, to be perfectly honest. It doesn't help him fight really that much. It's basically a greed farming item, and it's just not that useful till later on when you just turn it into Satanic as well. So I don't know. They're kind of paying for that they're kind of paying for not going for the earlier armlet here, I think. And well, Tiny, he's getting jacked. He's got a Yasha. Looks like he's going for an AC with his Hyperstone as well. So he's gonna be fast. He's gonna be attacking very quickly. And well, once he finishes that AC, he'll be doing just a butt ton of damage.
And the problem you have right now is that
Look at that tower.
Tiny is a very good carry. He's one of those carries that isn't picked that often, but when he gets that fast Aghanims, when he gets that fast... Oh, we see the initiation coming on to Tiny. Can they pick up this kill? No, they can't.
They might get him on the return kill here, but he's got time to heal up. And, well, the Relocate actually kind of missed the fountain, so he won't be as healed as he would have liked to be, but with the Wisp helping it out as well. They can take this fight. Here comes the Puck, trying to make something happen as well. Moonlight Shadow, Relocate back in. Let's see what Arise can do. Is he going to throw up? Okay, he already used the Avalanche. Zizu will go down, no surprise there, but AA does fall in the backline right now, so a support for support so far. And, well, they're just going to back out under Moonlight Shadow, it looks like. But nice pounce will catch the Invisible Mirana. She tries to pop a Star Storm, not going to work out for her. And, well, here comes the Puck. Nice Dream Coil on 3 Avalanche as well. And, well, here comes the damage. Tossin will do quite a bit, but can actually finish Heroes off. There comes the clubbing. Arise going to work with that big old tree. Ice Wall will slow things down quite a bit and help them disengage, but at the end of the day, 2 for 2 trade. Oh, that toss. Tree and a couple more punches, but, well, there's that Berserker's Blood. 4 levels coming into effect. That toss did next to nothing with him. Did next to nothing to him when he was at full health. Low health. That
was a very surprising turnaround, so to say, by myInsanity. I did think that with that Ron ultimate being popped and the other skills with Puck coming in from the side, that would be very bad for myInsanity, but somehow they managed to make it work and make it a 2-for-1 trade.
Yeah, I think Puck wasn't able to find that great Dream Coil until the fight had already kind of happened a bit, and there was already some trading just with how scattered the fight was, with the Relocate being in a weird spot, Tree and Mirana coming in from the backside, so Puck took a bit longer. If he's able to find a clean Dream Coil at the start of that fight, I think it goes way better for Set and Nihilus, but just by the nature of they had to kind of fight around that Relocate timing and positioning, it was kind of an awkward start for them, and they got the best out of it that they could, I think.
I think what I have to wonder is that should have Puck just went in on his own?
Yeah, maybe, but who knows? And at this point, a little too late to call, but but Arise actually did quite a bit of damage from that life break, and that's the thing. It takes away just as much health percentage-wise. It doesn't really matter. They're going to relocate out again. I think that TP was actually going to work, but now they're going to relocate back onto this cliff, or maybe Wisp will just come back by himself, I think, would be the smarter play. Yep. Zizu will try and find his way out of here, and it's not going to work out too good for him. Nowhere to tether. He'll go down.
That is going to be another kill there going out to the Wisp. This time the Wisp turning up on his own, saving that Tiny though. A huge save, considering that Tiny was in, so much trouble.
Yeah, pretty much. And, well, taking stock of things, it is 15-12, so the kill score not too far ahead for TCN, but they do have the better late game with the Mirana and the Tiny for sure. And, well, we see the Invoker. He has gone for a mechanism, so this is definitely not your late, like, you want, like, not a hard carry, but, like, that semi-carry Invoker with big, massive damage, some Necro Books, things like that. He's going for a Necro Book now, but it's going to be a while until he has that Necro 3. Mid lane, Coil used on Disruptor, he'll go down. But, yeah, mechanism on the Invoker. I guess who else farms it for this lineup is the question, or at least gets it quickly, and they do want to fight now, so he kind of had to go for it for the team.
Yeah, as in, it looks like we are seeing a slightly more, well, we kind of saw the level 1 Necronomicon coming out, then he seemed to switch that mechanism halfway through. Level 1 Necro, still pretty good, but not quite as good as that level 3. That when those level 3 creeps start coming out, it can start doing a lot of damage to support heroes and heroes in general.
Yeah, the level 1 book, the stats are okay, but there's a Moonlight Shadow. Oh my goodness. Well, you had a good run, Invoker. Oh, okay, I thought that maybe he was going to get out okay, but the Puck was there to clean up as well. But they find the kill, and that'll delay that Necro book, and yeah. The Necro 1 stats are decent, but like the creeps are not really that useful at all. Like, level 1 Necro creeps are actually just food, and you really need level 3 for them to be effective, like you said. So we'll see how quickly he can get there. But with how jacked this Tiny is, they may want to start fighting now on TCN, because he's got this AC done now. They can just absolutely roll through. This will make Huskar's life a lot harder, because the physical damage will be increased as well, which is really his problem. And, well, speaking of Huskar, he's looking pretty dead.
Yeah, and well, this is getting worse and worse for myInsanity as every single moment goes on. As they were not the late game team, and well, we're starting to get into that period, or at least the mid game, so to say.
Yeah, definitely. And well, if they next big fight, TCN can also go for a rush if they want to. We do see the Slark blink forward. He does try to pounce onto the Puck. Puck orbs out, very short orb, but enough to get her out of position. Sorry, get her out of that nasty position, and Slark looks like he's going for the Scotty next. It will help him tank through. I would like to see him maybe go for some more damage instead, but, well, Scotty's still alright. It gives you the nice stats, and Slark does benefit a lot from those stats.
Yeah, as he's desperate trying to just pick something up, so to say. And right now, Slark is in the bottom 5 in terms of farm.
Yeah, pretty much. It's tough. I mean, yeah, looking at the net worth, the 3 cores are all in the lead. Tiny way and far ahead, the net worth leader. The supports of an MYI very poor as well. And these are 2 supports that you want to have items. You very, very, very badly want that Aghanims on AA. I don't think it's ever happening this game at all. Disruptor would like one as well, but that's just not going to happen. He's definitely the poor support here. But even the poor support, I don't know. They're just in a really bad position. These supports have next to nothing, and it's going to be hard for them to add that much without that Aghanims on the AA, and just Disruptor doing what he can, but it's just not enough without that Ice Blast with the Aghanims.
To put the others into perspective, we do have the Treant Protector who's managed to... I think he's just picked up that mech, or... He did have the mech parts on him.
The Wisp, the Wisp has gone for the mech.
Yep, my bad. And the Wisp who's just picked up that mech, and these are the supports. These are the ones going for those wards. These are the ones going for those more supporty items, and they're basically out-farming the enemy supports by almost double.
Yep, and well, just the initiation as well from TCN is getting pretty good too, because they have the Blink Overgrowth potential now as well, on top of the Dream Coil, and then Moonlight Shadow on top of that. They have a lot of ways to take fights, and, well, MYI, they really don't have that. I mean, they have Blink Pounce, which is okay, but then you're just kind of throwing your Slark in the middle of the fight, and not necessarily what you want immediately. He's really nice picking off supports in the back line. I think that's his strongest point, but just like, who else is going to initiate on this team? Like, they have a Quas Exort Invoker, so no Tornado EMP. Their 2 supports aren't going to do it, and, well, Relocate top, just Slark immediately.
Yeah, it's not going to be Slark doing it right there. As we see, the Disruptor's in so much trouble right now. He's surely going to go down. The ultimate is perfect. Also picking up the Invoker. He's going to pop the mech in. In fact, a very nice silence there. Going to zone out the rest of the team.
Why did Tiny leave? They just bailed on that Mirana hard. He's like, guys, team? I don't know. I feel like they could have kept going there, but, well.
I feel they were playing it safer than than Mirana was thinking. And it was a very nice static field. They did zone out the rest of that team, basically meaning that the rest of them, they either had to go the long way around or couldn't go past that line. And Rana kind of got caught on the other side.
Yeah, well, yeah, she suffered there, but at the end of the day, it's 1-for-1 trade, so not the worst thing in the world for the team that does have the better late game, like we've said. And Tiny, he looks like a late game Tiny almost already, and it's 26 minutes into the game. So he already has that AC, 3.6k in the bank. We'll see if he just goes ahead and finishes a Mantis style here, maybe, potentially, and just add on to that Yasha. He's got options. With 4k gold, you have a lot of options, so we'll see what he wants to get.
It's also something worth noting right now that a lot of the time the Invoker strength he has with that Necrobuck is the fact that they can kind of start to whittle down these towers. But there's a Treant Protector.
Big Overgrowth top lane, doing a lot of damage, and here comes the Relocate as well. Avalanche to follow. Ice Blast will come in and hit on 4 heroes, which is a pretty nice shot. Verna will suffer for that. Zizu might as well. They actually just couldn't kill off this Huskar. Tiny has to be the guy to smack him around, and he kind of bailed on it. Armlet doing what it can, but it's not going to be enough at the end of the day. And Arise, he's on fire. He's actually a lot on fire. Is he going to die from this?
Literally.
Okay, not quite. Oh my goodness. Burning Spears are so scary sometimes.
Yeah, both literally and figuratively on fire.
I guess they found Slark. Was it an arrow from the Mirana? I would reckon it is. Zizu will go down. Poor guy. But, well, Mirana
That's
does
all
find
the
kill,
cores
though.
going down for myInsanity.
Yeah, I mean, they lose all their cores every fight, and the supports live, and it's like, it's really awkward, and it's just the opposite of what you want.
Which again, it comes down to a mixture of the huge initiation coming out from DCN. As DC Puck is going in on this Disruptor. Puck's going to move away from that wall. I'm probably going to be trying to pick up that second kill. He's going to get blinked back.
And but they have the damage to kill him. He does fire the Dream Coil off. Arrow Fly Switch misses completely. Puck will find the kill on that Disruptor. He gets Sunstruck, though, so nice find by the Invoker finishing that kill off. And 1-for-1 trade, not too bad there for MYI, but meantime, Tiny continues to just farm away. He's going Daedalus. And, well, the Deeps, they need some way to just blow that Huskar up, and, well, a crit stick is certainly one way to do it.
As in, it's worth noting that the reason why the carries are dying so much is because just look at the carries that are on the myInSanity's team. You've got the Slark who needs to jump in and do damage, and the Huskar who needs to jump in and do damage, and it's only really, as long as they initiate onto the Invoker, they really have no ranged carrying ability.
Yeah, these sort of like YOLO in heroes, they need to have an item advantage in Snowball, or else they're just throwing themselves in harm's way and just getting picked off by superior items, which this Tiny certainly has, so they need to be very careful. It looks like we see Leech Seed used Avalanche just one shot pretty much from that Tiny, just kills off AA, and, well, times are getting pretty desperate for TCN. I mean, it's not TCN, for MYI. This Tiny's just way too jacked, and, well, we'll have a pause.
15k gold ahead for TCN right now.
Yeah, take a look.
Mostly on that Tiny and Murano, but the puck is also outfarming everyone else in the opposing team as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the tower gold is doing a lot of that as well. I mean, it's all but one outer tower is down, and I mean, every single outer tower is still standing for TCN. I mean, they're just in perfect shape, and, well, when you pick Tiny Wisp, the other team doesn't punish you in the lanes, you pretty much just
win the game.
Can snowball like this. I mean, it may not be so severe as win the game, but you're in a damn good spot, and, well, they've certainly capitalized on it. Yeah.
Which again, it all comes down to a mixture of that Murano doing so well in the top lane, constantly hitting those arrows, and the fact that the opposing supporters didn't really do very much against this Tiny Wisp.
Yeah. MYI just needs to completely rethink their game plan in the draft. I mean, they put themselves into a huge hole with the way they drafted and then how they played their draft. I mean, if they had gone like really aggressive and tried to punish these lanes, they would have done fine. I think they had the tools to punish this Tiny. They just sat back and farmed instead and didn't use them, and I just can't stress it enough. Why would they not punish it with an aggressive lineup? It just made no sense. So hopefully in game 2, well, they'll pull it together, and yeah, we'll take this moment to mention now that we do see the Aegis getting picked up by Tiny. This is just game 1 of the best-of-3 series. The winner will move on to the next round of the winner's bracket. Loser, not out of the tournament, will fall down to the loser's bracket, and they'll play Nadam Spess or Northern Lions, a very tough team. Going to be a very, very interesting game down there, and, well, Verna, he's looking for this overgrowth once again. He'll drop it. Relocate coming in. The arrow going to land on Invoker. Thought that was going to miss, but they blow him up immediately. Sark going to try and do some damage, but nice silence field. Will actually catch a Rise. He might go downing for once. Living Armor doing what it can, but he just has the Aegis, so not the biggest deal in the world. And now Husker going to work, though. They need this Tiny to give him the old smack-a-rooney. Tosses him up in the air just to distract him, I guess. Not really doing any damage, but he'll find the kill. They lose the Aegis, but they find 4 kills, and another one-team fight for TCN.
And surely right now, they're just going to push up through middle.
Yeah, and they got Tiny, so when you win a fight, buildings die.
Yeah, as we do see the coming in, and, well, do they have any buybacks? I don't think they do.
They have none. No,
no
Sark does, but
buyback.
he can't do it by himself.
And so these racks are going to go down. The fortification is going to get popped, but fortification is just going to slow them down momentarily. It's just going to be more of an annoyance, let alone a halting of this onslaught.
The Glyph will basically just stop them. Well, maybe will it even stop them from getting 2 racks? They're going bottom. They want to just go ahead and go for more. And I don't blame them. They got Tiny.
Why not? As in, he's just right-clicking people to death, and with the heal and sustain they have with that Wisp and Tree and the Treant Protector, why not?
Yep, and, well, 2 racks are down now, and Rise, he's looking for more. He is living armored up and has the Mjolnir buff on him as well, but, well, here comes the fight. They actually will pick out the Mirana, so a nice start to the fight. Overgrowth used a little bit too late to save their teammate, but, well, here comes Tiny. He gets a crit, 900 damage, almost 1,000 on that Invoker, and, well, they can't stand up to this. This might be a good time to call it GG.
Yeah, the GGs do get called right there, and that is going to be 32-17 with TCN winning that first game, and in pretty convincing fashion. A little bit of a strange draft and not quite playing the draft correctly from myInsanity, as I do feel that they had the ability to win that with their draft. They just didn't go aggressive enough.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Their game plan, I don't know. They didn't really pick too well around that Slark. They didn't pick that aggressive of supports, and, well, they certainly paid for it, but just game number 1, TCN takes a 1-0 lead in the series as I lost my cursor and I can't find the close button on this damn window. But anyway, we're going to cut to the break. We'll be right back with game number 2 after some music and some ads, and, well, we'll be here very shortly. We'll see if they can come back on myInsanity.